One night stole everything she had: her dreams, her family, her place in the world. Branded with shame for a crime she did not commit, Aisha was cast into the cold, unforgiving street, alone and pregnant. But fate was not finished with her. From the depth of despair, a new battle began, not just for survivor, but for dignity, hope, and a future no one believed she deserved. In a world determined to break her, Aisha would rise stronger than anyone ever imagined. In Umbe town, where tradition often hides reasons, an 18-year-old Aisha was a rare light, the only child. She was the daughter of a lecturer and a nurse. Her parents had poured everything into her education, often going without many things so she could have new books, tutoring, and proper meals during exam seasons. Aisha never took that for granted. Moreover, she was in that school on scholarship. She excelled in everything: science, math, literature. But brilliance, especially when wrapped in a modest girl with a soft smile and unwavering discipline, often raised contempt. The boys in her class resented her, not just because she always topped the exams, but because the teachers used her as a standard. "Why can't you be more like Aisha?" became a common phrase, often tossed in their direction like a whip. What should have been praise turned her into a target. Rumors and whispers began flying around that she was too proud, too cold, too obedient. Some of the boys tried to win her affection, perhaps to tame the girl who made them feel small. But Aisha wasn't interested in romance. She saw it as a distraction from her goal to become a doctor and lift her family out of poverty. Her rejections were graceful but firm, and that only deepened the resentment. "She thinks she's better than us," one of the boys had whispered once. Aisha heard it but said nothing. She believed in silence over unnecessary conflict. Her friends warned her to be careful, but she laughed it off. After all, she had done nothing wrong. But life doesn't always punish the guilty. It happened on a Thursday evening. Aisha had stayed late in the school library preparing for an inter-school science competition. She always walked home as it was only a 15-minute stroll. She never imagined the shadow behind her would change her life forever. The path was narrow and dark, a shortcut she had taken hundreds of times, but this time it wasn't empty. A muffled cry, a hand across her mouth, a scream no one heard, and then darkness. She woke in pain, her uniform torn, her books scattered. She staggered home, her heart pounded in her ears. For days she said nothing. How could she? Who would believe her? And then the nausea started. Doctor's test confirmed what she already feared. She was pregnant. The day she told her parents was the day she lost everything. Her father, proud and principled, stared at her like a stranger. Her mother cried, holding her chest like her heart might give out. "Who did this to you?" her father asked. "I don't know," Aisha whispered, ashamed of something that wasn't her fault. Her father's voice turned ice cold. "You expect me to believe this? You dishonor us and now lie to cover your shame?" "I was raped," she shouted, the words ripping from her throat. Her father's hand struck her before she saw it coming. Her mother did not stop him. "Pack your things," he said. "You have brought shame to this family. You are no longer welcome here." That night, Aisha begged, but everything fell on deaf ears. Aisha left with a small bag and a breaking heart. She slept in abandoned buses and under market stalls. Her belly swelled as the night grew colder. Each morning she woke up hoping it was all a dream, but the baby inside her was real, kicking as if reminding her to hold on. Then she met Mama Joy, a former midwife with a fierce heart and a gentle spirit. Mama Joy ran a home for abandoned young mothers. She found Aisha outside the shelter one evening, shaking from hunger and fear. "I have seen that look before," Mama Joy said, extending her hand. "Come, child, you don't have to do this alone." At Mama Joy's shelter, Aisha found warmth, not just in food and blankets, but in spirit. The home was filled with girls like her, shattered but healing. There was Miriam, who had been cast out after refusing to marry her abuser. There was Ekaite, who had been trafficked before escaping. And now, Aisha. With time, Aisha began to smile again. She learned how to sew from Mama Joy, who insisted every girl live with a skill. She helped in the garden, read books to younger mothers, and slowly resumed her studies with borrowed textbooks and late-night determination. The pain didn't vanish, but now it had a purpose. Zara came on a rainy Sunday morning, screaming into the world with lungs full of light. Aisha sobbed as she held her. This tiny creature that grew from her trauma now felt like a salvation. "She looks just like you," Mama Joy said, with tears in her eyes. Aisha kissed her daughter's forehead and whispered, "You will never know shame, not for how you came into this world, and not for who your mother is." But outside the walls of the home, the world was cruel. People stared when she walked out into the town. "There goes that girl," they would whisper, "the one who claimed she was raped." Even classmates from her old school did not want to associate with her, but rather mock her. But Aisha always walked with her head up, saying, "Na pikin I born, I no kill person." Aisha had no time for hate. She walked, she learned, and she built. With a grant from a local women's fund, Mama Joy helped Aisha start a small business, handcrafted jewelry with cultural significance. Aisha's designs were intricate, inspired by the stars she used to study and the roots of her pain. Each piece has a name, such as resilience, healing, unbroken. Her Instagram page caught fire. Others began to roll in. Then an invitation came, a woman's entrepreneurship summit in the city. It was there that a journalist heard her story and asked to feature her in a Sunday special titled "Young Mothers, Big Dreams," the article read. The piece went viral. Donations poured into Mama Joy's home. Women from around the country wrote letters. "Your story gave me strength," one said. "I thought I was alone." Aisha read every message. She cried. She healed. That same day, Aisha's father saw the headline. He read the article twice, his hands trembling. His daughter, the disgrace, was now a symbol of strength. Guilt coiled around him like a serpent. "I want to see her," he told his wife. "I never stopped praying for this," she said. They both traveled to the city without notice. Aisha was closing her shop one day when she saw her father. He stood, wrinkling his fingers, eyes wet. The father said, "I'm sorry, Aisha. I failed you. I let my pride blind me. If you can find it in your heart, please forgive me." Aisha didn't speak. She turned to Zara, who peeped from behind her skirt. "Zara," Aisha said gently, "this is your grandfather." Years later, Aisha stood on a larger stage under golden lights. Her voice, once silenced by trauma, now rang strong. She said, For every girl who was told she was ruined, unworthy, dirty, I stand here to say you are none of those things. You are light, you are strength, you are the future. In the crowd sat Mama Joy, beaming. Beside her were her parents, now devoted grandparents. Zara waved from the front row, her tiny hands holding the necklace named Phoenix, one of her mother's best sellers. As the applause thundered, Aisha smiled. From shattered innocence to celebrated warrior, she had walked through fire and emerged whole. The girl who once had nothing had become a woman who gave others everything. Her story was no longer about tragedy. It was about triumph. The air was still, warm, with the late afternoon sun as Aisha stood at the gates of a new community center, a building that now bore her name, the Zara Haven for Young Mothers. The laughter of children echoed in the courtyard as women passed through its door with dignity, not shame. For once, the world was exactly as it should be. Zara, now 5, ran up the path in a pink Ankara dress, her bright eyes gleaming. "Mama, Mama, come and see what I made," she said, waving a paper crown made from colored card and glitters. Aisha turned to admire it, her heart swelling. She thought back to that night, the library, the alley, the silence that followed, the betrayal, the fear, the hunger, the pain. She had walked through hell, but now she walks in peace. Her father stood nearby, his once proud face now softened by age and remorse. He no longer tried to erase the past, but helped her rewrite it, one gentle act at a time. Her mother, now her biggest advocate, managing clinic days for the women at the center, offering free care with the heart of one who had learned compassion the hard way. Mama Joy, forever a compass, sat on the veranda watching with proud, cloudy eyes. "You have done it, my girl," she whispered. "You turned your tears into a river that will carry others." That evening, under the golden sky, Aisha sat with Zara on a bench just outside their home. The child leaned on her laps, her voice soft with sleep. "Mama," she asked, "was I your first dream?" Aisha smiled. "You were the dream I didn't know I needed, and the reason I never stopped believing." As stars blinked into the sky, Aisha looked ahead, not with fear, but with fierce joy. She hadn't just survived, she had conquered. And now, she was building a world where no girl would ever have to rise alone. Aisha's story is not just about pain, it's about power. It's a reminder that the world may try to define you by your wounds, but healing is your own to claim. She was judged, cast out, broken, yet she rose, not in spite of her suffering, but because of it. In every rejection, she found a reason to stand taller. In every tears, a seed of resilience. And through it all, she held onto her dignity, her dreams, and above all, her child. Let this story teach us that no one's worth is erased by trauma, that silence must never be mistaken for shame, that one woman's strength can become a sanctuary for many, and that sometimes what the world sees as the end is only the beginning of something beautiful. If this story moved you, please share the video, spark the conversation, and be part of the change. And if you believe in telling stories that make a difference, like, comment, and subscribe, because together we can build a world where children are nurtured, not broken.